Hola, good day, Master Vibration 13 self-healing practitioners. Today I opened up to a metaphysical interpretation of the Bible, and I opened up to page 516. That is located inside of this group if you don't have the book and you wanna read along. It makes so much sense for what is happening now through this cleanse. This cleanse has been a deep dive into the chakras, to the energy centers, and just really getting to know them and seeing how they relate to us specifically, like really digging into the chakras. This is the first time that I've done it in this capacity, and it's been just clearing up so many things and allowing for more information to come through. So with that, we are on page 516, and it is the second paragraph on the page. In the following verses, the Master speaks metaphysically of the awakening of the human to the understanding of the higher nature and the matriarchal creative schools of thought. John 7, verse 16 through 17, Jesus answers them and said, "My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me." 17, "If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God or whether I speak of myself." In the last sentence, the Master was referring to higher mind and soul realization as one and the same. They would be of one mind. This is the knowledge that comes with the progressive efficiency in the conduct of our physical life. How we live it and experience it becomes the teacher of the higher mind. It does not entail reaching goals in the material world, but rather the attainment of higher understanding, arising above the pull of life and ego. The left brain creates the overpowering pull, while the right brain is more flexible and accepting. From this state of mind, we would see life as it is and have a tendency to flow with it. The left brain also creates the judgments we pass, and it blocks us from hearing the inner voice of spirit when it wishes to talk to us. In this quote, the concept is one of cognitive thinking or creative thinking with a willingness to be open to one's soul. We may do this by initially relinquishing ourselves to the spirit nature, thus discovering the real depth of self. Jesus further stated in John 7, verse 18, "He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory. But he that seeketh his glory that sent him, he that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory. But he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him." In the first sentence, there is no question that the Master is telling us of our own arrogance and self-gratification. It is quite easy to get caught up in the game of self-glorification, since it is all that most of us know. It appears to be a most important subject on our minds, brought on by external perceptions. As a result, they that live in this fashion can only speak of themselves and mostly about their physical selves. In reality, it is not their fault, so to speak, because it is how we have all been taught. The Master opens another path to walk, one that has not been our normal road for millennia. Moving on to the second paragraph on page 517. It's going to go a little bit deeper in what was happening in this first paragraph that I just read. This particular type of egotistical behavior also allows these individuals to deal with their external world. And in reality, we all must, but it reflects a limited understanding of life within their inner selves. In the second portion of the verse, we read the glory that sent him as an indication of the importance given to the person's soul, as well as respect and reverence for the principles prescribed by a higher realm. We must all give our soul recognition and honor our true selves, rather than becoming overly enamored with our physical aspect. The next thing that attracts our attention is the use of the phrase, "and no unrighteousness is in him." In the Beatitudes found in the book of Matthew, we pointed out that in Aramaic, the word for righteous and truth is the same. We know that truth is the foundation upon which rest the higher principles. By switching the words, we find that no untruth is in him. Each of us would hold no untruth within if we were to become self-realized, and we would live truth instead of clinging to our present illusions. By focusing only on what we are in a sense living an untruth or a lie that feeds the ego. We should concentrate on who we are and transpose our mindset to the first or higher cause. This philosophy is corroborated in John 7, verse 24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. We previously discussed a most widely used quote, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." According to this verse, Jesus now appears to make it acceptable. However, it is not exactly the depth of the message being conveyed. What is the difference? We are known to judge people and their deeds by what we see and hear, based on our material environment. This would explain the use of the word appearance. We know that in most instances, things are not what they seem to be. The key is to go deeper into the matter to see the truth, to appreciate the difference. We must not just look at a word or an action, but go beyond our senses. We rely on our outer nature and our physical sensory perceptions, thus barely scratching the surface. Our intuitive side must come into play to achieve a righteous judgment. For example, if we encounter a person dressed shabbily, we categorize him or her by whatever name we choose, but the tendency is to downplay that individual by what we see, and we certainly could be in error. As we have mentioned several times, we cannot judge a book by its cover. It does not stop us from categorizing a well-dressed person quite differently. Those are purely outer judgments that are not necessarily correct. In the above verse, we are told to look a little deeper before we come to a conclusion. Of course, a conclusion means an end result, when philosophically there is none. The word righteous appears again, and thus the same principle applies that we cited in the previous paragraph. Truth is the implication, and it simply means that we should see it and use it, letting our higher understanding control our physical and mental tendencies. We will see more clearly by peering through the eyes of truth, and will be able to formulate a better determination of the deed or the person. By doing so, the enlightenment we will receive will amaze us, as well as the level of objectivity we will get to assist us in this type of deeper judgment. The error we commit in our rulings is seeing what we choose to see and not allowing for the truth of the event to come into play. We must exercise caution, however, because whatever judgment we pass will be received by us as the reward. If we condemn someone, we will also be condemned by our own nature. We become harsh and critical of our own self, wondering why and how it happened. According to all masters, there is no other alternative, because what we sow, so shall we reap. This was very powerful on this day to get this information from this book. Thank you to Stephen L. Harrifield for putting this book together, because what we're going through now with the 9 chakras is taking us to a deeper place, deeper than we've ever been. Well, I know deeper than I've ever been in this experience. And it's allowing us to see everything how it is, and really being able to assess our experience through the days with the knowledge that we now have, and being able to separate ourselves from the emotional aspect of what is happening in our lives, and be able to really have a clear assessment of what energy center is being targeted, what energy center is being blocked, so that we can clear it, so that we can activate it ourselves through our own experience. And this is why it is so important that as we go through this self-guided, and being able to go deeply with the tools that we have, being able to, focus on the color, the shape, and the size, and the brightness, and guided meditations, and all of these different things that we have, as tools to help us go deeper into the experience for ourselves. So we have to remember that the most important thing of all of this is our own experience through this cleanse. We have to experience this. And as we experience it through ourselves, we're going to have a deeper understanding of what it is and how to do what it is that we are intending to do, which is clear, cleanse, and activate these energy centers within us. I hope you guys enjoyed this read today. Remember, it is inside of Private Study of Yourself, inside MasterVibration13.com. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with us. Hasta la próxima. Adios.